People are nicer. There's a lake
Yeah.
instead of a river.
What more could you
know?
ask for? Okay. Well, first of all, congratulations, you guys. I am telling you, this is so hilarious, and I really think kids are going to eat it up. You know, how much fun? Well, first of all, what were your earliest, your earliest thoughts of Yogi and Boo Boo? Justin, start with you. When was the first time you were introduced to them?
I used to watch Hanna-Barbera cartoons on Saturday mornings. They also had them on a certain. I remember when I grew up in Tennessee, we got a satellite dish. Remember satellite dishes? It was a satellite dish, and so there was sort of like the Cartoon Network, and they'd always have the Hanna-Barbera cartoons on sort of after school. So I grew up with these two very lovable bears, along with a lot of other iconic Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters. So yeah, when I was approached to play the part of Boo Boo, and I think at that time Dan had just offered Yogi to Dan. I just thought it was such a cool choice, and I thought we'd have a lot of fun doing it.
And Dan, growing up in Canada.
Growing up in Canada, I can tell you that watching Yogi Bear at 4 o'clock in the afternoon as the night sky was fading above Hull, Quebec, was one of the joys of my life. And I really did have that typical Canadian walk to school, up in the morning, 7 o'clock, past the Timberwolves, down the hill, over the frozen creek, across the bad highway, through the bad neighborhood, to the school with unfeeling, unkind students and teachers, and then back across to the 4 o'clock tiny little television that we had, and Yogi would be on there at 4, and that was the joy. That was my warmth. That was my fire. So
They made it all worth it for you.
it made it worth it to get home and be able to see Yogi after that hard day at school and walking back and forth. So it was sort of almost, you could say, a subliminal infusion of Yogi, because I have it in my being. I watched it so much, and so when I heard they were doing this movie 2 years ago, I said to my agent, we got to track this, because they're not only going to need a vocalist and a vocal characterization here, but they're going to need an actor. And that's what they got with both of us. I mean, I did a little acting in my time. Have you seen him in Social Network and the other things he's been doing? The guy, this is an actor here. And that's what they needed. They needed actors to pull this off. So I got the part, and I was just thrilled to be able to do it. And it's a real, I feel it's an honor, and I know Justin does too.
Well, I have to say, I mean, we all know that Dan Aykroyd is a funny guy, but man, Justin Timberlake has proved himself as quite the funny young man. His stuff on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about my music.
Oh, no, absolutely. Oh, well.
We could talk about that later. No, but seriously, I mean, he's a real, I want to know, it's very rare that two voice actors get to work together. You guys did get to for this film.
Yes.
So tell me about that, because
Yes.
the improv must have been going crazy with the two of you.
I actually did some voice work before playing young King Arthur in Shrek the Third, and this process was very, very different. First of all, Yogi and Boo Boo are kind of a two-hander, and we talked about them being like Batman and Robin, or you said Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, which was a great analogy, or like Laurel and Hardy, and so I think having us in the booth at the same time, looking back and forth at each other, and we would find stuff every time, and we were encouraged to kind of, once we got into character, to ad-lib a little bit and play with what was there in the amount of time that we were allotted to get our lines in. It was very time-based. We had to have a certain rhythm, and it was very time-based, because they'd shoot, even when it was just Yogi and Boo Boo in a scene, they would shoot plates, and camera moves with nothing there, and we had to imagine that our characters were walking through and having a conversation, so it made such a difference for us to have that conversation back and forth, and then when you mix in the live actors as well, we had to fit in a certain amount of time, all this dialogue, and so it definitely helped tremendously that we were able to voice these characters together, because I think it helped the chemistry between them as well.
Was it tough to get the voice?
No, as I say, it was sort of in sleep learning almost as a kid. I just had it right there, because I listened to it so much, and I hadn't done it in many years. But when it came up that they were doing the movie, I started to watch the shows again, and re-listen to it. You know, it was originally, really, it was, well, Dawes Butler was the original guy who did it, but then it was based, I mean, I think I can safely say, on Art Carney from the Honeymooners. And in fact, Art Carney's family went to Hanna-Barbera and said, you're using the voice, and I believe they did get compensation for the use of his voice, and then Dawes Butler, and of course the hat and the collar. All that's missing is the vest, so. But it's strange. It's you know.
I never thought about that.
Yeah,
That's very
and it's not. You'd think that the Boo Boo character would be the Carney character and the Yogi character would be the Gleason character, but no. The lead character here is that kind of Carney character, and then you have this Buster Keatonish, Dr. Watson anchor to the relationship. You know, Yogi's absurd. His schemes are way out there, and just like Sherlock, you know, like riffing on you know where to go for the next clue. Boo Boo anchors the whole relationship and makes sure that no one gets hurt and that they don't go too far.
Justin, was the voice hard for you? Because I understand you walked in the audition, you just nailed it. And as a kid, you used to do voices?
I used to do Yogi and Boo Boo when I was a kid.
Can you give us a little Yogi and Boo Boo right now?
I grew up an only child. Well, I mean, you know, don't embarrass me. I grew up an only child, and so my parents were my audience, and I was constantly trying to make them laugh. And you know, I used to run around the house with I had an afro wig on, and I was like, you know, I'd do all the Jackson 5 impersonations, and then I would do cartoon impersonations, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, and then Yogi and Boo Boo, and then the list goes on and on. But mostly comes out of being an only child and not really having any friends. So thanks for bringing that up. Now I'm going to have to go back to therapy.
We don't generally do the voices right now because we're not in the suits, in the CGI
Yeah, exactly.
suits. And also, we are here to get people to come and see the performances and to also hear the audio characterizations. So, but anyway.
It's good to see that Yogi and Boo Boo got their sexy back in this movie.
Oh,
They get it on. They have some good dancing moves.
I don't know that they ever lost it.
No. I mean, they look good from all sides.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys did a terrific job in this. Really, I think kids are just going to eat this movie up. Congratulations.
Oh,
Did a
cool.
wonderful
Thank you,
job.
Mom.
Great
Thank you.
talking to you guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Sure,
Take care.
thank you.